Olin, where'd you get your little teacup?
It's a Nitro holiday thing, which I thought was expiring yesterday, but apparently is not. So I might just permanently have a teacup now. I don't know.
It's got like steam coming up from it when you speak, like you're like a Viking in the horizon on like a boat back
No,
at first light or something.
the Steam is actually why I took it. Oh, apparently it expires tomorrow. Okay, I got my dates mixed up. So after tomorrow, no more teacup for Bolon.
Oh, I think
Back.
Professor Tango added something on mine where mine blinks or something when I talk. Yeah, there it goes.
Nice. Yeah, Cujo used to have a bloater and the mouth moved when he talked. That was really cool. I liked that one. It's the simple things in life,
It's the
guys.
little things. It is. Very jealous.
All right. Well, we can go ahead and kick off today's AMA. It's good to see everyone again after the holidays. Hope everybody had a very enjoyable holiday season of all of the various holidays. And so, with that, I will turn over to Frisky Fox for our intro.
Thank you, Bolan. Yeah, how's everyone doing? It's a new year. Um, New year, new me, but it's like new year, new project, except we're already awesome. So it's like same project, except we're gonna get better. So I'm excited about this new year. There's a lot of really cool things on our roadmap that we have a excellent and like really efficient and experienced team now that we've built out that can hit those milestones that we have planned, and I'm super stoked to see those. It seems like every release we get more efficient at the things that we're building. We have things that we've built, infrastructure we built, stuff that helps us to very quickly iterate on things, and it's really starting to pay off. So really stoked about those things. Also just excited to be having us now having all of the major things on Serendale and Crystal Vale in sync. We just launched duels last night, and it's the first time we've had a duel season at the same time on two different chains. So that's pretty new to us. We had to build some things that were sort of able to keep those in sync more to enforce things like the wallet lock and things like that. We have some plans in the future seasons to add even more interplay across chains, and probably with a lot of our other features too, because as we have our strategy to expand our game onto like other chains, it's important that we have things in the game itself that will allow for interaction across those chains. So expect to see more of that. We're also getting really close for some of the exciting features that are up. I think the the beta for PvP is getting close, and I'm stoked about that. We've also got some really exciting things in the works, which I'll let other people talk about. I guess I don't want to steal everyone's alpha, but it's been a great holiday time. A lot of our team was able to unplug a bit, and I, for one, am hitting the ground, feeling like recharged and running during this part. So, yep, I guess that's sort of the main overview for me. We had some other things internally. We had a meeting a couple days ago to sort of have a like internal, hey, it's a new year. Here's some other things we're going to be doing. And a part of that was we sort of like refreshed our org chart internally and sort of like reaffirmed everybody's like roles and how that all sort of like is able to fit into the big picture. And we set up some new like recurring meetings and committees and things that will help to really ensure that we stay on the same page and that everybody's able to know at any given time what we should be doing and what will have the most impact on like the roadmap and things. So really stoked to see how that turns out as well. And stoked to be able to really start to focus on new things rather than trying to get uh like parity of like our internal features and things, having the ability to say, okay, we've got a foundation built. let's see what we can build on top of this now, and really able to focus on new exciting play for the game, and also just like in-game chat and guilds and things like that that will help to improve the aspect of our game for like the social aspect of it. So yeah, excited about those things, and I'll turn it back over to you, Bolan, to kind of call on other people, and then I think we'll get into questions. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, thank you. My favorite thing to do is call on people. So, Dreamer, I'm gonna call on you.
Thanks, Bolan. Yeah, I think Fox gave a good beginning of the year intro. I just want to like point out that people have gotten time off during the holidays, but people have also continued to deliver and perform like at an incredible rate. The releases that we've seen go out, there are a lot of changes and updates and releases even recently. It's a lot of work. So I just wanted to like give pats on the back to the entire team during holiday season. I think that we stayed in good contact with the community. We were allowing and really suggesting and requesting people to take time for themselves and their families and friends and whatever they'd like to do, while also delivering. And I think that's a really good quality of a healthy team. So grateful for the team that we have and our ability to perform. On the biz dev side, holidays also slows down a lot of those discussions, but we do have our inboxes full of people that want to still meet with us. And we are continuing to focus in that area, especially given the first probably half of this year. My personal focus is going to be on a lot of like boring things, I guess, as I've mentioned in the past, but working with our lawyers a bit more closely. We're in talks with Deloitte to potentially helping us with filings for taxes, continuing to refine the structure and governance and so on. Sunbury's been stepping up in a big way on the biz dev side, relationship management side, and doing incredible. And we have a new really part-time resource help there as well that folks might be around in the next couple days or so. Goes by Strider. So really focused on relationships, with the ecosystem, the chain, the game, and everything that we are. It's a lot for one or two people to take on and manage all that and keep everybody happy and progressing. So we are able to allocate some resources there to make sure that we're building strong, lasting relationships and cultivating them. So we'll have more updates on that to come in the coming weeks and months. But I'm just really excited about the new year. I'm really proud of the talent that we have. I'm impressed at what we've done last year and excited about this year to come. I will note that even a couple days ago, like right after New Year, our tokenomics committee went for, I don't know, 2.5 hours or so. We are just constantly pumping away on important topics that feed into development, that feed into risk management, and other things. So just reporting that we're keeping on even during the holidays, and now that we're through them, we'll keep turning it up.
Thank you, thank you. We'll go around for updates that anybody has before we dive into the questions. We'll start off Pi. I know you have some updates for us.
Yeah, I've got updates. Cool. Hey, everybody. I'm here to share today that it's the last day of the 12 days of DFK. I'm not sure if everybody's noticed. We have the graphics change each day on the launcher, and also announcing all of the contests each day on Twitter. But the winners from each day, you guys will all be contacted through the platform they submitted. So if there's like a retweet, that'll be through Twitter. Or if there's the Discord React, then through Discord you'll be contacted if you're a winner. But that's happening tomorrow, that we'll be announcing these winners. And we'd also just like to especially thank all of the generous members of the community. They donated to the prizes, and this is just such a fun way to give back to the DFK community for the holidays and like the end of the year. But on top of that, I'm not sure if everybody noticed, but the graphics from all 12 days, they combine together as one beautiful fun graphic. And Mother Brain, he's gonna drop in the AMA voiceless chat channel for that one big graphic for all of you guys to look at. And there's some pretty fun Easter eggs in there, some entertaining things going on. So it's kind of like a Where's Waldo piece where you just like look at every little thing going on in like the corners around. But yeah, definitely check it out.
Thank you, Pi. And that image is in the AMA voiceless chat, and it is pinned. So if anybody's looking for it, check the pins. But very much appreciate that, and yes, big shout out to both the community and I'm Minnie as well for collecting and organizing everything. So huge kudos to both. Beetle Dude, you have any updates for us?
Oh boy, do I ever. Yeah, I mean, I think most of my updates went out yesterday. But yeah, I think we had a successful launch yesterday with Sarandale Duels and just quite a bit of other quality of life improvements. It was kind of nice over the holiday to have a little bit of time to relax and kind of circle back on all the little things that have been bugging myself and typical for the last uh, year. So it's been good. I think we're continuing to head in a good direction where we have a solid foundation to build on top of. But yeah, I think things I'm excited for this year that we've kind of talked about before, or just PvP in-game chat. It's the first time we kind of mentioned in-game chat. We've been talking to some possible partners in that space and kind of looking at what the best route would be for that. So excited that we are kind of making some forward progress there, because I think in-game chat is going to make things feel a lot more connected, make people feel like they're really playing an MMO or something along those lines. So really excited for that. I think I would say that 2023 is the year of the game. That's what I'm pushing for and excited for. So stay tuned. Keep your eyes peeled. We're gonna continue to bring you great things as quickly as we can. So yeah, that's my update. Thanks.
Thank you, Beetle. Magnus.
Yeah, so it was nice to have a few days of chill time over the holidays before heading into this big year for DFK, like everybody else mentioned. So I'm currently working on power ups as our next big feature. Then after that, there's gonna be a lot of really kind of big, impactful releases coming up. So excited about those. I also kind of on the more like Solidity and backend side of things. We've been doing some really cool stuff um, with like cross-chain data sync. It seems to be that's kind of where we're headed, kind of on the tech side, and so we're going to be making some updates to our bridge infrastructure with like Layer 0 and Synapse to make that a little smoother as we go forward. So that's really cool, and to me that's kind of a groundbreaking feature that not a lot of other protocols are doing. So I'm really excited to start weaving that into our game architecture as well.
Thank you. And last but certainly not least, Hubert.
Yeah, so I guess first off, I wanted to just remind everybody that the Gen Zero rerolling event is going to be ending soon, in just a couple days from now. So if you haven't done that yet and you wanted to, there are benefits to doing so. And once that timer is up, there won't be another one until our next release of new Gen Zeros. So. It could be a while, and yeah, it always, as has been mentioned in the past with those rerolls, it helps the overall gene pool for every Gen Zero that does reroll. could be introducing some of the new genes into that Gen Zero, which overall just kind of helps even out everything across the board with the Gen Zeros. So appreciate everyone who does reroll their Gen Zeros, and just wanted to remind you, in case you were holding off until near the end, that it's coming up quick. So there's that. As far as things we've been working on, so Magnus mentioned power-ups already. There are also the pet utility functionality, profession level 10 quests. Been working on those and kind of going back and revamping our analysis on the pet bonuses that are going to be included with that. Burr has been instrumental in getting that a lot more fleshed out than we had it previously, and also is helping get it to a point where I think we'll be able to do release on that a little faster, as far as like the big full picture than we had planned back when we were gearing up to do that before we had to kind of switch over to doing all of the parody stuff on Crystal Vale. So you're looking forward to all that. I'm looking forward to this year. We also still a lot of work going on with Wisdom Gaming and PvP. I've been trying to help answer some of the questions in the PvP channel from time to time as well. I've just give you guys a little bit more info there, and yeah, it's going to be a really exciting year. I'm really looking forward to all the things we have coming. So, thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, for anybody who does not, at the very least, lurk the PvP channel, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun, first and foremost, but there's also both Hubert and Workhorse answer questions in there pretty regularly to make sure that people understand and have clarification. So if you have any questions, I would highly encourage you to post them there. But also just reading it every now and then, you might learn some fun tidbits. So with that, we will switch over into question mode. So for our first question, it is around duels, and it is basically, to summarize, our projections of people being able to reach the higher/highest ranks. Fox, did you want to speak to that one?
Yes, I will. Thank you. So yeah, this season has seen a lot of really cool new features and changes to how we do duels. There has been a lot of changes to like the matchmaking engine, which has led to a lot tighter matching, which is great. We also overhauled the rank system in general, such that like the levels are easier to hit at the lower end, harder to hit at the higher end. The higher end can be seen kind of as like stretch goals and things. As we were trying to build this out, we relied heavily on some of the data from last season, and we ran like simulations and things, trying to see how that could translate into this new system. And the end result should be that you'll see a lot of people hitting middle ranks that in the past weren't able to. So from that metric of things, this season 2 is actually a lot more like rewarding for the average player, which I think will be awesome. Like you're able to hit those ranks a lot easier, and you're also able to immediately claim those rewards, which is really incentivizing. With that said, there are some things that we added, like hero limits for like how many times you can use each hero in each duel type each day. So if you were to use the same strategy that you used last season, you wouldn't be able to even get close to the like rank that you saw last season. In the current season, there's a lot more strategy involved with the heroes that have like boosts every day, as well as the like limits there, such that you have to basically use multiple teams, multiple heroes. And I think that's really good for the ecosystem, because it incentivizes, rather than just having one dream team that you just spam a bunch. You have to actually sort of like spend some time and think about it. That said, yeah, you will need multiple teams in order to hit those higher ranks. In our simulations, it was possible. In practice, it kind of depends on how devoted someone is, how many heroes they have, and how many teams and all that. So we are constantly like monitoring that to see how things are doing, how squad is doing versus war, and then also solo too, and sort of just seeing which ones we might need to adjust. And there is a chance that we do adjust things inter-season or intra-season. Shoot, I don't know how to say that during the season. But a lot of the changes will probably wait till next season because at that point we'll have like a full entire picture of how things actually played out for this season. So you'll see a lot of things that will change in between seasons. But we do also reserve the right to adjust things in the middle of the season if it starts to become apparent that it's just too high or too low or like whatever. Most of the time we might only do that once, maybe in the middle of a season with ample warning. I'm not saying that we will do that this season, but it is a possibility. And if it does happen, it probably would happen next week, I would say. So hopefully that helps to just kind of add a brief overview of our approach and our end goals and our way to adjust things. Any other things you wanted me to hit on there, Bolin?
No, I think you caught everything. I do appreciate it. All right. So, our next question, level 30. So, the ability for heroes to hit over from levels 21 to 30. It is, excuse me, actually a little bit of a two-part question. So, most heroes organically without stam potting are around 11 to 13. With the XP bonus from power-ups and also pets, will we expect a quicker bump to level 20 than the current XP curve? And then assuming that, kind of a rough idea of when we're expecting to open up level 30 and if there is a lot development-wise outside of adding another rune that takes. Hubert, you want to kick us off?
Sure can. So let's see. So I guess I'll answer the second part of that question first, which is just the technical side. As far as like development goes, it really is just a matter of having the rune and releasing it. So the system's already set up for that as far as just what the meditation circle is looking for. With that said, though, the idea of when we would do that is more tied to, as I've said, I think in the past, to PvP. The desire has been to, keep things a little bit more controlled until that point, and then once we have PvP out, we can have more growth. And so you can expect to maybe start seeing those runes appear around that time once PvP is out. Along with that comes design of equipment and a lot of things, with crafting and things that are coming in the future where there actually are other pieces that we would like to have more in place before we go to like the 40s and so on. So there is a lot of design work to go, and once it's going to be more like a full scale RPG, or so. I would say, expect it to still be kind of a slow step up each time, with a lot of time in between. And the experience system itself, like the required amount of experience that you need, it was also designed with that in mind, to where you do need quite a lot of experience. Of course, new features will also give you more experience, including the power-ups and pet bonuses. But just overall, the system grows pretty fast in terms of how much experience you need for the next level each time you level up. So that was all just designed on purpose with all of this in mind, that we're developing this game as we go, and so we have to kind of make sure that we're careful every 10 levels and really focused on that experience, and then expanding out from there as we're ready. So yep, that's what you can look forward to.
Good deal. Thank you much, sir. This one is around the alchemist and stone carver, essentially having them use locally sourced produce in each realm, so the loot from each realm for their various recipes. Probably Hubert starting us off for that one as well.
Yeah, so I can say that you're likely not going to see something like that. The fact that there are different ingredients on different realms is by design. The intent here is that you can't do everything all on one chain. You could rely on others to bring resources from the other chain that you might need, but you'll likely see more of this sort of thing as we expand out and have like more things like crafting, where some crafting ingredients can only be found in Crystal Vale, some crafting ingredients can only be found in Serendale, and so on. So it's that helps us have a more robust ecosystem and give people more options for how they can be successful in the game. So definitely do not have any design plans at all to make things more isolated per chain.
Makes sense. The next question actually might also be for you. I know we've spoke about it a little bit before, but it is around Eternal Story page 10. Any thoughts or plans on the release of it?
So, I mean, it hasn't been forgotten. We are just focused right now at the moment on PvP and, the things we've talked about just now. So once we have those basically squared away, I think that we can turn our attention to the tournament system and being able to get page 10 out. So it has taken us a long time on that, but if the choice is to delay PvP to get page 10 out, I don't think that's really much of a choice for us. So we're really focused on getting that first, and hopefully everyone can understand that we just have a limited number of resources that we're working with, and we're trying to prioritize the most important things first. So
Speaking for myself, I'll take PvP. But all right. Well, this is the Hubert section of the AMA. I got another one for you. Level 10 mining quests. Will level 10 mining quests also have the ability to mine tokens, and what impact do we expect that to have, as it would essentially be doubling the amount of locked quests a player can send at a given time?
Yeah. So there's two parts to this. The first part is, yes, you will be able to mine locked tokens on the level 10 profession quests for mining. Similar with gardening, you would be able to get rewards from that. However, with both of those, for the locked tokens and for the gardening, the queues are shared. So you can only do, like, you could queue up a level 10 and the level 0, but what would happen is the level 0 would start after the level 10 quest was finished. So they share the same queue. So there won't actually be a doubling of resource that you can acquire through doing those quests.
Perfect. All right. This one might be for you, but it might not be. This one's for whoever wants to weigh in. So some auction houses have a cap on the transaction fee that they charge, referring to the 3.75% that we have on the tavern. So essentially the question is, have we given any thought into putting a cap on that fee in our tavern to essentially lower the impact on the highest value of trades?
I know we did talk about that like back in 2021 a bit, and it was an option, and I think it still is an option. We just haven't really prioritized that. But I would be open to that. I think we could solicit more like feedback from the community and things on that as well.
Makes sense. 2021 was like 34 years ago now, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say like that was ages ago, but yeah.
I didn't know that year still existed. I thought we'd erased it. All right. Thank you. Thank you. The next question. So there are still heroes in the tavern from Harmony Serendale. Could something be developed, and would we be interested in developing something for active players to be able to purchase those heroes at their listed jewel price?
Could you say that again? I'm not sure I
Yeah.
followed that all the way.
Basically making it possible for the purchase of heroes that are still listed in the Harmony Tavern.
Oh, right, because I believe we paused that contract, but players can still withdraw them, I believe.
Right.
Is that right? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, this one's tough. We don't really want to support that realm anymore because it's already been sunset. Players can still remove them from there and do things with them. Existing sales. I think there was some other reason why we decided to pause it. I'm trying to think what it was. It might have been something related to just bridging concerns.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, shoot, I don't remember. I think what might have been a concern was if for some reason or other, let's say theoretically, like that chain goes down, and then the bridges stop to work, we would have snapshots and things. But if the bridges go down for some reason, because like we don't control the bridges, if the bridges go down but the chain continues to run, then you have the situation where we would have a snapshot of it and we could sort of like airdrop those heroes to the right addresses, but then other people might still be buying them and selling them. And so it created sort of a weird who owns the hero sort of thing. And then how do we get those heroes to be sent to the right person? So that's, I think, why we decided to pause the sales, because we didn't want them to be exchanging hands in case that happened.
And then if I could just add like a piece of clarification as well. Those heroes aren't just lost too. Like if the original lister, which I'm guessing they're still listed there because they were either forgotten about or maybe that account isn't currently active, but they still do have the ability to come back, delist, bridge to Crystalvale, because I think that one-way bridge still works, and then relist there. But yeah, I think for reasons first mentioned, it's not currently like a live secondary market, but it's not that those are just stuck there completely. Is that accurate, Fox?
Exactly, yeah. So we would have sort of a contingency plan in case that happened, and part of that is the reason why we've actually paused that contract now, just so it's easier to manage. I think after the snapshots that we did a couple months ago, with like locked Duel and sort of like some of the other balances like land and things like that, we did a similar thing with land because we didn't want to snapshot land, airdrop it on Serendale 2, and then have it still be able to be changing hands on Harmony, because the could see like scammers or something that are trying to resell things that aren't actually valid anymore. So yeah, that's one of the concerns we had, and I think it was just out of an overabundance of making sure that assets are secure and things are very cautious.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So the next question is on tainted hero traits. It starts out, I have a feeling you are, or will be digging into this soon. Ironically, that actually came through during a live discussion about that. However, we are actually going to hold that question over until next week, where we anticipate having more information to share. So rather than giving kind of a quarter answer to it today, we're going to hold on to that one to do a full answer next week. Which brings us to the following question, which is the DeFi aspect of DFK. So currently we're using the AMA style of Uniswap v2, which there are now, I guess, advanced options such as V3, liquidity book, etc. So asking about our plans to potentially be upgrading our Uniswap V2 to another system.
Yeah, I can take that one. So both Uniswap v3 and Trader Joe's liquidity book, they're really excellent dexes that do a lot of really cool things, like significantly lower the slippage and impermanent loss by allowing the end user to basically provide liquidity in a range, which I'm really impressed by the technology both of those protocols have built. And in terms of licensing, Uniswap v3 switches to an open source license of April 1st of this year. And so we would start looking at potentially swapping that over closer to that date as that becomes a bit available for us to use. Liquidity Book, built by Trader Joe. It's an MIT license, so that is potentially a little more near term for us to start investigating since the licensing is open. However, on the integration side of things, there are a few different things to consider before we would implement that to kind of make it a bit of a challenge. The first is compatibility with analytics tools that show TVL and transactions, et cetera. Many of them don't support Uniswap v3 yet, and even fewer support Trader Joe's Liquidity Book. So that would potentially limit some of our integrations until the community kind of catches up and starts using those. And I would think with Uniswap v3, once the license rolls over later this year, that would kind of help accelerate that transition as more protocols are using that. Another challenge is that several features of our game are built around the Uniswap v2 DEX, such as mining and CNS Duel. So it's a fairly big lift to kind of swap out the DEX that's at the core of our game with a completely different DEX. And so it's definitely something that can be done, but it's quite a bit of work. And then there's also the front end considerations as well to swap out. So it's definitely something we're keeping on our radar. We just want to make sure we're one, staying compatible with the community tools, and two, kind of doing that in like a measured approach, because our game is or the DEX is pretty central to our game.
That makes sense. Thank you, Magnus, for the insight there. Our next question, further fundraising. Is it the case that DFK presently is not seeking further funding? Dreamer, that's probably going to be up your alley.
Cool. Up the dreaming alley. So I'm gonna interpret this question in two ways. There's different ways to raise capital, raise funding. This year we had started a traditional raise for Kingdom Studios, and that's when the event with the bridge happened, and we went down a different path, both of development and like crisis management, which I think was successful, as well as fundraising. So we looked rather to the chains that we were on and wanted to build further on, and other chain options to move to. And we sought like incentives by way of capital, whether it's related to milestones or agreements or just overall partnership or support to help us complete different things that we had started. Those are all successful. Won't go into that too much, but with the question of are we still pursuing build incentives on existing or other chains? We are still working towards milestones of the Clayton build incentives. And we've actually hit 2 of 3 that we're going to be talking with them on getting those. I'll use the word paid out, but maybe that's a weird term or word to use. Once we're complete on that agreement that we had, as it relates to like build incentives with other chains, we're not going to be actively pursuing for some time. Now, sometime in this world is probably still, later this year, but definitely not until other milestones are hit and focused on, and then also what the market is doing. Because an expansion to a third realm really needs to be timed with a functioning game that has multiple layers, that is successfully cross-chain, with a stable environment, with a lot of interest externally for folks that want to work with us, whether that's, well, I won't name chains, but any of the EVM compatible chains are an option. But we don't want to prematurely go out and seek fundraising by way of promising full built realms just because we quote unquote need money. We want to make sure that's timed well. Everything that we've done so far, I think, has been timed really well and been successful, and we want to make sure we keep that trend going. For the traditional fundraise, the market out there is a hard market to go and start raising. There are pros and cons to that. Early on in the summer, when we started raising, there was actually a number of deals that were getting announced of blockchain gaming companies getting valuations of like 100 million or so. Even without like proof of concept and a lot of what we had done, then I think after that, it seems like it's in more of a drought or so. Just a lot that's happened in the world and in the industry. I'm not sure if there's the same momentum there. Now, there's pros and cons to that because DeFi Kingdoms has progressed so much in this market. I think it'll really bode well as we choose to market. But what we've done in the bear market is successfully pivot, release some new features, complete parity, and across 2 chains, one of them being completely new, and quote unquote survive survive with style. It's not that we're just like barely surviving, like we're progressing as we're surviving, but we need time to also show that we've progressed significantly on the game front. So for the fundraising, are we currently actively raising? No, we haven't actively been progressing the traditional raise, since we stopped it with the bridge incident. There's our focus like full steam ahead on game, year of game, is all that directly linked to being able to prepare for a strong, healthy fundraise? Yes, it is. Still on our minds. We don't want to prematurely do it. We want to do it from a position of strength, want to do it in the right market, and want to go out there with a very good argument for all of the strongest strategic partners to see that this product has value, that the team is strong, and that the foundation has a long roadmap that we are already delivering on. So a long answer to say we are still seeking funding from the agreements we have in place that have not been complete. We are not currently seeking any more, although chains do continue to reach out, seeing what we can do to work together. Maybe there will be some kind of mini collaboration, but full realms are not in focus. And traditional fundraising will likely be ramped up as we get closer to game features that I think we've been referring to, like PvP or like combat features, with other things progressing there.
Surviving with style is gonna need to become a hashtag, because that's just a great way to put it, and I really appreciated that.
I don't know, it's probably a lame reference, but I think in my brain that pulled from Toy Story when he said he wasn't falling, flying. He was falling with style.
Yep. Yeah, the chat's very Toy Story right now. So
Did they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Have you not even noticed that? Oh yeah. AMA voiceless chat's all Toy Story right now. Thanks.
Oh, yeah,
The funny thing is, I started it without even knowing you were going to talk about that.
Wow. Yep. Things just work out sometimes. All right. Well, our next question is also probably a dreamer kickoff one. Excuse me. Regulations and security classification. There's a chance that DFK could get classified as a security when regulations come full circle. How do we plan to navigate this situation? What's being done in regards to that, etc.?
Yeah, really good question. It's something that has been on my mind since I joined full steam ahead last year. And it's been a part of our strategy all along. So all we can really do is look at the public information that includes both regulatory laws and like precedents in the traditional world, as well as like what people are building, what they're choosing to do in Web3, whether it's good behavior or bad boy behavior. Sorry, bad boy is a weird term, but it is a term in like traditional finance, and like clauses and everything in documents are bad boy clauses. Anyway, and learn from them and try to avoid doing the things that are very clearly bad. Interpret as much as we can with professionals like our very good external legal team that is advising us on what could be bad and what to avoid. So some very specific things are avoiding selling tokens and NFTs at a fixed dollar price. If we notice, even when we released the highly coveted Generation Zero heroes for Serendale and Crystalvale, there was no fixed price. There was no sale. We rewarded participants and players of the game. As we look at land, we gave that away, but again, rewarded people that were in the game by way of I think it was initially a. In the future, I think we've had ideas of tournaments being linked to such things as well, and getting closer to people. I don't like the word earn, but earning or receiving or obtaining NFTs and tokens through playing a game that is more and more skill or strategy based will directly support our argument against any claim that any DeFi Kingdoms token or NFT is a security. And there's actually been some movement on some cases where there are narratives. One interesting one to follow is the XRP versus SEC case, where there are narratives of utility adding to the argument against it being just a flat out security where all existing security laws would apply. So what have we been doing by way of utility? We've been constantly looking at tokens that represent resources or game tokens or ecosystem tokens or gas tokens as saying, what is lacking or needs utility? How can we add utility to our heroes? How can we add utility to pets? And anything else we release in the future, we need to make sure that utility is behind it. So there are a few other aspects to this, but we'll say, I think part of the question is how would we react if it was deemed a security? That's a really hard one to answer because I imagine, three-letter agencies aren't going to just flip the table and be like, all right, everybody, you're all in trouble. We're shutting down the whole industry. That would be unfortunate. And I think highly unlikely given other things that have progressed with talk of central banks launching their own tokens and other things. Also some major companies, investing or looking into ways to integrate into Web3. But I think it will be more like there will be a precedent and kind of maybe an example made out of a few projects that were very clearly the bad boy behavior that we will then look and say, okay, does this affect our ecosystem? Hey, lawyers, what do you think? What should we adjust and where do we think that we're fine? So continuing to do what we're already doing, essentially, as more information becomes available is how I'd answer that part of the question. Bolan, do you think I hit everything there?
Yes, sir. I think you hit everything that we're able to hit at this moment. There's obviously a lot of unknowns, so no, I definitely think that was good. All right. I did have one last question that slipped in, so we'll snag it real quick. Excuse me. Probably a Fox/Beetle question, which makes me happy because I can make Beetle talk, and now I've forewarned him to pay attention. Would it be possible to create a one-click button that populates a duel under the parameters of your last played match? So if you are, running that same team for their max limit, to just be able to quick select that same team again?
This is a great question. I won't just say yes because it's not built in yet, but we are in the process. So, part of our PvP integration will involve having a login that will basically associate off-chain data with your wallet account, I guess you could say. So I think it'll start opening up a lot of these options where we could keep track of what you've done previously, possibly even creating teams, dueling teams that you could just quick select. So it kind of goes hand in hand with hero tagging, which is something we've talked about before. I think the biggest hurdle for that system in general will just be a ton of UI needs. What does it look like when you select a group? Where do you select a group? All these kinds of things. So I think it's a great idea. I think we're definitely going to want to move that direction because we want to make sure it's as smooth as possible. With the quick select that we have now for questing, it would be even nicer to have, a quick multi-select, you just say, queue up all the quests that I already did previously. Same heroes and everything. So there's definitely a lot of improvements that can be done there with both duels and other areas, and I think that's a great thought and something that we can look into.
Thank you.
And I can't save you. I'm sorry.
Crap. Thank you, Beetle. All right. Well, with that, that does finish our questions for today. I know Dreamer has a call at the top of the hour, so we're actually gonna go to him for any final comments real quick, and then we'll give everybody a chance if they have anything they wanted to add. But that way, if he needs to drop for his call, he is covered. So, Dreamer.
Yeah, I'm actually a little late for a pre-call, so I just want to say thank you, everybody, and thank you for the good questions. I think we mentioned like a few weeks ago when the questions were light and we were coming with really beefy updates. Hey, submit some good questions, and people have been doing it. So keep them up. There are also some things we didn't mention here that are like suggestions. Those are looked at. We really appreciate them. So just wanted to say thank you. Hopefully people can feel the energy, the excitement, and the momentum. We keep saying like year of game, we're focused on game. We may not be doing A, B, or C because we're focused on game. That's a majority of what we're talking about, while also trying to take care of all of the other aspects of maintenance, risk management, some other important things on the business side. So just appreciate everybody's support, and back over to you, Bolin.
Thank you. And with that, I won't go around the whole table and force everybody to speak. But before we go to Fox to end the AMA, if anybody has any last comments they wanted to throw out there, now is the time. And actually, I'm going to go first. So in a minute is the time. Just wanted to say, really appreciate the community. It's been a lot of fun. I mean, always, but particularly like through the holidays and all. It was a lot of fun to, have people in there during the holiday time and still interacting and chatting. And it's just such a nice environment to be a part of. So really do appreciate the community. And as always, appreciate everybody who's up here for taking the time out of their day to do this AMA. So now, if anybody else has anything they'd like to add, the floor is open.
I'd just like to say that I am very excited about the new Toy Story meta that we started today. All are the best. That's all.
Lawsuits incoming.
True.
Anybody else? All right. Well, then we will turn it over to Frisky Fox to wrap it up for us.
Sweet. I was actually about to speak prior to me speaking because I had something that was a correction on what I said earlier. There was the question about the heroes on Harmony that are in the tavern. Actually, a couple of those contracts were not upgradable and were not pausable. So we just turned off the interface for those. But other ones like lands and pets and things are actually paused. And I think the reason we did that was for consistency. If we're not doing some, we shouldn't do all of them, sort of thing. But I guess theoretically, some people could use other means, other like interfaces that might be out there, or just interact with the smart contracts directly and still do that. We just aren't planning to spend any resources to add that support into a now sunsetted realm, basically. So that's hopefully a clarification on that. Back over to me with my other hat, I guess. Yeah, no, this was a really good AMA. I think there's always really good questions asked. I had been actually like meaning to spend more time on the talk site. I answered a couple questions there this morning, and I want to spend a certain amount of time every day just sort of like looking at those so I can make sure that it receives all of the love that it ought to, because we have really awesome stuff there that's actually being posted and shared and asked and suggested. So just want to say big kudos to everyone here that has been doing that. We do really appreciate it. Also a big kudos to our team. As I said earlier, we're starting to get into the well-oiled machine territory where I think we've just have such a really good thing going where everyone kind of knows what they're doing and they're really good at it. And we've had to really pioneer a lot of the processes that we have, because, as I've said in the past as well, there isn't really anyone else out there that's actually trying to do what like we're doing here in this project. It's very unique, and it's exciting to be doing that. So shout out to our team. They're amazing. We have really smart, really professional people on our team, and I really appreciate every one of them. And I'm excited to be starting out this new year with them. I guess let me check my notes, make sure there wasn't anything else I wanted to talk about. There's like some upcoming events that we're starting to plan out, starting to talk about with the event managers, event coordinators. There's a word for it that I can't think of right now. I'm excited about some of those. Stay tuned for more updates there in the future. We're also starting to look at how we can like integrate with other projects in the crypto space. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunities with us now on Clayton, where there's other projects that are already there that are trying to look how they can integrate with us, and also vice versa. And really, that's what it's all about here in this space, is how to like interact in a metaverse style way with other smart contracts, other protocols, and things like that. So I'm excited about those things as well. And then, of course, all the fun things we have in the works, which I've already mentioned. With all of that, I guess you could say that I'm very and always and extremely bullish for this new year. So just want to thank everyone and say bullish. Thanks for coming.
Bullish.
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 Bullish.